So, so fun fact, I was recently in a car crash, and the results of that had me really thinking about what's most important in my life. And when I got down to it, what I found was Dabi from My Hero Academia. And I think I need to talk about why. So much trauma is fit into this guy that you can literally tell just by looking at him. He's also canonically stinky, and don't call me a freak or anything, but I just think that's awesome. I think it's so sick that Horiko, she's like, not only is he fucked up, he smells. Like, imagine being in the League of Villains and sitting around talking about League of Legends or Overwatch or whatever they talk about, and being like, hey, Dobby, would you mind stepping outside? It's hard to concentrate. No wonder he was sent off on just like solo missions during season 5. He literally doesn't shower. He just smells. And I don't know if that's like Horikoshi when he says that Dobby smells, if he means like, oh, it's because his skin is burnt, or if it's because he literally doesn't shower. And I like to fully imagine he just doesn't shower. He's just in that gamer juice 24/7. Shoto being like, Doya, what do they do to you? And then Dobby's all cocky, like, yes, my master plan's finally coming together. Like, yeah, my face is pretty disgusting now, but it's sure surprising. And then, like, Shoto cuts him off, like, why do you smell so bad? But my stinky husband aside, I want to make this video because through writing it, I want to figure out why this is my comfort I've never had a comfort character in fiction before until Dabi Academia, and I need to figure out why he has such a stinky hold on my heart. My relationship with My Hero Academia started when I was in high school. That's when like the anime started coming out, and like season 2 had like started when I was like 15. And I was the biggest My Hero Academia fan in high school. Me and my friends would make like our My Hero OCs because we were the cool kids, obviously. And we talk about how Bakugo is the best character, which is true, and Deku's just like me for real. And then after the anime did the All Might and Hosu fight, I caught up with the manga, and I got to the part where Deku started getting the new quirks from the other vestiges, and I was kind of like lost at that point. Like I loved it, but I was like I wasn't really feeling it anymore. And there was like a short hiatus, so I kind of like fell off, and I was like, I think I'm done. I'm gonna go to college now and get really into Bernie Sanders. And that was going pretty great for me until this last summer. I was on a train trip across America, and due to reasons of substances, I experienced ego death and had to very quickly remember who I was before I got kicked off the train for being too cool. And when I was trying to remember who I was, I realized the best way to do this was to go on YouTube. Whatever was in my YouTube recommendations is surely who I am as a person. But for some reason, even though I hadn't watched My Hero Academia in years, all that was coming up was My Hero Academia lore videos, analysis videos, and clips of this fucking beautiful, traumatized man who kind of looks like a happy gecko. And so that's one possible explanation is I literally unintentionally altered my neural pathways to love this man. But I think there's more to it. The next obvious explanation is that he's got daddy issues and also a really cool voice and a trench coat thing going on that definitely doesn't remind me of other toxic male characters I've been obsessed with in the past. He's also like a bit of a philosopher, and I'm something of a philosopher myself. And car crash aside, I've been having a pretty rough time these last few days and months in years. And I've read and listened to so many different philosophers, but nothing's hit me as hard as when Dabi said,
whether you spend today laughing or crying, tomorrow will come just the same. In which case, we should laugh.
like, when I first saw that clip, which I love to just, when I'm sad, scour clips of Dabi Academia, I was laying in my bed at 3 a.m. feeling sorry for myself, and I listened to him say that, and I thought about it, and I was like, holy shit, that's so true, my smelly husband. No matter what I do, it'll be 7 a.m. in a few hours. So I might as well just vibe. And like, you could say, like, he's the bad guy, you're not supposed to agree with what he says, but legit, like, He's basically saying the same thing that Shakespeare says in Julius Caesar when he writes, "Oh, that a man might know the end of today's business ere it come, but it sufficeth that the day will end, and then the end is known." So yeah, Dabi my hero is basically William Shakespeare. Also, fire powers are really cool, and fire is my favorite type in Pokemon. So like, aesthetically, he's basically made for me. Trench coat, fire, loves Shakespeare. That's just like me. And while I try to think of like a good, deeper reason than this, can we just watch clips of him for a second? I'm just a girl, chat, in love with a fictional man who is, as reviewed by my friends, objectively gross looking. See, but here's the thing is that Dobby also just kind of sucks. Like, he's kind of bad at being a villain unless it's a random cutaway of him torching like 30 nameless dudes. Oh, and Snatch. And you know, there's probably a really good video essay in here where I talk about the phenomenon of problematic male characters and why we love them. But that all just feels a little 2018 for me. Like, I even started researching until I saw this Quora post and realized that I just don't got that dog in me, dog. I just want to talk about how hot this Raro que Bandito is. Dude, his quirk is called cremation, which is also what Dabe means, so there's something interesting there about losing yourself, then re-identifying yourself solely with your quirk. Probably a good video essay there, too. And, oh my god, his skin is literally held together by staples. Let me tell you, chat, I have never been interested in piercings except in two cases. Whenever I see the Patora earrings from Dragon Ball Z, but that's just like ear piercings. I need to get earrings at some point, obviously. But when I see Dappy, I'm out here thinking like, yeah, I could pierce my ear and my cheeks and like my arms. It's no big. And oh my god, he's unable to cry tears. He's he literally cries blood. He's all my edgiest dreams going even further beyond. I want to talk about his ending, actually. I think the ending of My Hero Academia was not great. And I don't even know where to start with that. But like literally, like what happened to Shigaraki, my son? And I haven't even heard anyone talk about like Shigaraki in this way. And I need to use my platform to talk about what I think was so obviously the original ending that I don't know why it didn't happen. Like, they're talking about the quirk singularity for so long and how as quirks evolve, eventually human bodies won't be able to contain the quirks. Then here comes this perfectly set up character who'd been given a very specific quirk that takes away other people's quirks and he can like remodel and re-gift them however he wants. And it was recently shown that his body specifically has adapted to the quirk singularity so that he can handle all these quirks. And conveniently, he was recently redeemed. So what do we do with this guy, who was the main tragic villain for basically the entirety of the show? Deku just kills him, going against literally everything he wanted, specifically in like these last like few episodes. And then the literal in-universe news media is like, yeah, that villain sure sucked and deserved to die. Good thing he was the singular thing wrong with our society. Now, let's get back to the hero charts. It almost felt like they were like setting it all up for Shigaraki to return, or for at least Deku to be like, you know, I did kill him, but in his memory I'll change hero society. But instead, all Deku does is call Spinner cringe, become a teacher at the age of 18, and then become Iron Man. And I hate Iron Man. All that aside, though, in regards to Dobby's ending, I actually kind of hated it. And also, it was my favorite ending. Ignoring the endings of Shoto and the other Todorokis for a second, because I definitely didn't like Rei's ending, I was actually really touched by Dobby's like last conversation about Soba with Shoto. I was one of those people who, when Dobby was about to explode with Endeavor, I kind of hoped he would, because I didn't want to see him just like being gross bones in a healing tank, not getting to say everything I'd want him to say, then dying. And that is literally what happened to him. But I looked at that page where that happened, and all I thought was like this is enough. Because for me, Dobby's tragic ending is when he's imagining a world surrounded by his family, still fitted up in a trench coat, and they're proud of him. A world where everything was different. And the tragedy for me is the fact that it was never his fault. It's the forces outside of his control. His abusive dad, who, even if Dabi did everything right, literally wouldn't have changed. Like, if Dabi came back all scarred and decided to talk to his family instead of abandoning his toy identity, it's not like the abuse would stop. I mean, Dabi even recognized that himself when he was like 13. It was like I left because clearly my death changed nothing. That world was just never meant to be. And I love that Dobby's ending isn't him being like, "Oh, if only I forgave Endeavor, then I wouldn't be about to die." Cause I hate that. Instead, he just wishes he tried to reconnect with Shoto and his siblings. Or maybe that he tried to connect with them more in the first place instead of just trying to be Endeavor's perfect creation. Maybe there's a world where they all ended up escaping Endeavor together and like running away. It's not impossible. But instead, Dobby's literally trapped in an Evangelion machine, forced to talk to Endeavor, while watching his broken family all go their separate ways, covered in burns. All that's left for him is to wait until Endeavor leaves the room, talk to Shoto about their favorite foods, and hope it's not too late to say sorry. And the ending that I thought I'd hate, I came to realize is actually like the best written ending I've seen for a character in a long time. I mean, especially in anime. At least he gets an ending instead of just like Goku and Vegeta forced to constantly just like keep finding new, different colors of the rainbow to transform into. Dobby's ending is so melancholically depressing in a way that I think it needed to be. It's an ending where there's nothing that can be done to fix the situation. Instead, it's just like, do the best you can to say goodbye before you can't. I thought my ideal ending was one where Dobby accomplished his goal of dying with Endeavor, or maybe some quirk reverses it so he can live and they live all happy and only minorly scarred together as a family. But come on. Back when I loved the series, I was always so amazed because Horikoshi would do these incredible twists on like anime and comic plots. And they always like made me feel so inspired of like, oh my god, I'm so glad someone's doing this. And I'm happy that at the end, the series was able to do that one more time for me, giving me an ending that I thought I wouldn't want. And like on the surface, one I shouldn't like, but one that I now recognize through making this video is what I wanted for Dobby, my smelly husband. Even if it did rob me of more hot Dobby. Hello, thank you so much for watching that video. I've never made a video like that before, and maybe will never again. Um, but if you liked it, let me know in the comments and like the video and do all that stuff. That'd be really cool. This is the first time I feel like I have a video that I'm like proud enough to like say like, hey, like, comment, and subscribe. So maybe like do that. That'd be cool. Anyways, thank you so much for listening and watching if you choose to do that. Shout out to Dobby, my guy. Sorry for the spoilers. Guys, Dobby dies. And yeah, bye.